All right, welcome back to the Third Eye Vibes podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about gratitude. Gratitude, detachment, and the fires of inspiration. And I guarantee you, some of it will be uncomfortable, some of it will be comfortable, but we're going to bring you to a space where you can find more meaning in your life, even through the struggle, and talk about how we relate to detachment and gratitude and actually feeling inspired day to day to do the work that we do, even do the show, and actually find meaning for our life. So you don't want to miss 1 second of this episode. I encourage you to sit back, grab some popcorn, grab yourself a nice refreshment, and get ready to find brand new meaning in every aspect of your life. So we'll see you there. Welcome back to the Third Eye Vibes podcast. Today I have with me the lovely Mystic Runa. Say hello, Runa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. What about you?
I am so thankful, just so grateful.
We've been talking a lot about gratitude. For months now, we've been stewing over doing an episode on gratitude. And we've had a real tumultuous several months. And it seems like everyone we know is going through some kind of really intense ordeal, whether they're taking care of a wife with dementia or they've lost a loved one. And every day in our work, we get people who've lost lovers, jobs, and it just seems like this collective shadow that's on us. And for me, winter's like that every winter. We go through the darkness, and I have this big theory about everything, and you've heard it many times, that things don't just suddenly, a light doesn't come on. But what happens is we find a reason to go on in the darkness, and we bring that inspiration into the light of day, so that one day we can help other people out of that darkness. So our experiences and our sufferings actually help us to appreciate life. Like when you're sick, right?
I believe so. You know, it's like when you have that really bad flu, when you're just, you're down and you don't even care if you live or die.
Not even.
But then whenever you get better, you just, you're so
you appreciate everything.
Thankful for your
bite
health.
Of food,
yes.
Anything you can get.
Yes.
And life is like that too. And I also feel like a certain amount of detachment. Like we're always so attached to the result of everything. We don't really focus the way we should in life to accomplish goals. We allow our expectations to really take away from the moment. That's mindfulness in a nutshell. We're always in the past with regret, and we're always in the future with, a lot of anxiety about it hasn't happened yet.
Anticipation. And
then we get robbed of the present. And the thing is, not all present moments are good, right? You get into some moments you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a little bit of detachment helps with that. But these sufferings of life, all of the great spiritual masters said, these are what make us more enlightened, more loving. Our experience, our empathy for others, the things that we go through, they give us a zeal for life, especially when things are going good. And if we forget that, we all of a sudden become ungrateful, and then nothing in life seems good. I know you've been there. I've been there. You've seen me there. I can be there easy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know we have been there. But I find, too, whenever we're just grateful, or whenever I start becoming grateful, it's not that the situation changed.
You changed.
My mind about it changed. I became grateful about it. I started thinking about it in a different way. And situations, they change.
Magically change when your perspective changes.
Well, but also, you're in a bad situation or a bad moment. You're not going to be forever in that moment. Situations change. Life changes all the time.
Never stops.
For good, for bad. But just being grateful.
For everything
yes.
in life. Even the struggles. And usually we're not grateful for the struggles until we're through them. Let's face it. It's hard to find gratitude in the struggle. Like I had a little episode of vertigo recently. And that was very hard to be grateful for because, you feel sick in the moment. But I swear to you, all I could think of was when this room stops moving and I stop holding this trash can, everything's going to be great. And it was. I felt great. The first meal that I ate, remember the next day, I was like, man, I feel great.
Yes.
And, you've had a little ordeal with your life recently too, where you sustained a nasty little injury and, and it kind of, it gets you down.
Yeah. I have epilepsy and I fell, and so I broke my wrist, and I'm so grateful that because it could have been a way worse. I could have hit my head. It could have been way worse. but I just got an injury. And I'm 50 years old, and I don't have very many of these injuries, being epileptic since I was 4. So in that in itself, I'm grateful that I haven't sustained as many injuries as you think I would have.
And that's a good perspective to have when you have something that you, but at the same time, a lot of people, though, they're in the struggle. Mm-hmm. And I feel like what hurts a lot of people with finding gratitude is not being detached. Like sometimes I believe in this type of meditation where you pretty much understand, it's probably Buddhist in scope in the way it's applied, that everything's passing away and going away. And you have to face that thought. And it's a horrible thing to think that everything that we see is constantly moving, and then one day we'll be a memory too, and we won't be here. Now, aside to the spiritual things, because of course, I believe in God and I believe in spirit, and and I believe we're going to be in a better place. But still, from the perspective of us in these bodies, this is going, mm-hmm. and everybody we've known has gone, up to a certain point until now. So it can be an overwhelming thought sometimes. And that's why it's important to stop and be in the moment and not be at that place where those things are happening, but be in the moment that you're in. If you're drinking a nice cup of juice and it's refreshing, take time to taste the juice, feel the refreshment, live your life, because mindfulness centers on the idea that you're going to stay in the moment that you're in rather than being back there with a lot of regret in the past and in the future with a lot of anxiety. And it takes a little practice. We always recommend the mindfulness movie.
Yes.
Personally, I recommend this movie to just about every client that I've ever worked with because it's such a approachable film. And the way it presents mindfulness, remember the couple and they're kind of, and he mm-hmm. doesn't get it, they pick the men and I get it, which I get, and they have this playful discourse throughout, but they go into the more therapeutic aspects of mindfulness, and they also approach it in such a way that anyone could watch that movie and grasp it mm-hmm. and put it into practice without having to set aside time every day. It just is a way of seeing your life and realizing that a lot of the responses that we have to trauma are based on fight or flight responses that we have from past circumstances that develop triggers in us to, defend ourselves or to put up a wall when something seems like it's kind of penetrating our defenses. Mm-hmm. It really presents that in such a way that anybody could grasp it. It's a wonderful movie, the mindfulness movie. And, you can find it at Amazon. It used to be free on the Gaia Network. We don't endorse anything and we're not involved with the project. It's just something that we've picked up along the way that both of us enjoyed, right?
Exactly. That I find very useful. It's just, and I really have enjoyed it.
It's time to watch it again, I think.
I think so, too. I was just sitting here thinking, I would love to watch that again. It's been a while, but...
And there's a lot in that it's not a very long film, but what they present and the way they present it, and even the testimonials of the people who put it into practice, it just totally makes you realize that most of what you feel is based on some other time, like the past, the defense mechanisms you build up, and then in the future, all of the anxieties about where you're trying to get. And I feel it was just so profound for me because I don't meditate formally, right? You see me around mm-hmm. here, I meditate all day sometimes. But sometimes I might look like I'm taking a nap when I'm really actually emptying my mind and breathing.
And same here.
And sometimes I slip into a nap though, right?
We both kind of. Yeah, but still, I like to meditate. It really helps me to focus and get centered. But I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you too.
I'm thankful for my cat, guys.
I was going to say he's our guru. He's our guru.
He's so laid back, relaxed, loving. There's not a tense bone in this cat's body.
He's like an angel, really. He's our angel, and he's come to us, I know, to teach us love.
Yes.
Because he's not like a typical cat. He lets us rub the belly and the ears, and he's not aggressive in any way, and he's 18 pounds, so he might as well be a bobcat.
Yes.
He's a big, big boy.
And I'm grateful for my cat. I'm grateful for my family, my dad, my mom. She's my stepmom, but I see her as my mom, and all my siblings. They're my step siblings, but they're still my siblings. I see them as my family. I'm just so grateful. Because not everybody has that. Not everybody has that.
Not everybody values it the same. You know how I am. As much as I value, all of my relationships, for me, like the way my eyes see the world is a little different. Sometimes I'm not as grateful as I could be, and I'm very caught up in the details of life, and that kind of gets in my way, right? Everything must fall into the details. I've got the mathematical mind that's always trying to make sense of everything, that sometimes it's just simply as it is, like sometimes there's not any method to the madness. So the Hawk Moon is late March. That's why we used to be Hawk Moon Visions, which is still, to me, everything about my coaching models has to do with that darkness and the way that I relate to clients, because I feel like most people come to us, right? They lost something, they can't attain something. We get a lot of love readings, and it's pretty normal day to day. Both of us work on major hotlines and major apps in Google Play, and we're both listed on some pretty prestigious directories as well. And so at any given time, we're like literally live on 5-6 different websites or apps, so we do have a life that's kind of a juggle, along with our own clients, right?
Yes.
And which is kind of a wild life, and we hear everything, and we try to keep those stories very much so in the realm of private, right? We don't.
Oh no, we do keep them private.
We don't like to come online and talk about these things, or because your problems when you come to us are very. And she has her clients, and I have mine. We don't counsel people together. She has her own office that's absolutely adjacent to this little studio here next to mine, and but we do deal with situations with people that are not necessarily good for them, or they're having a hard time coping. So you have to learn these meditative techniques, daily. You have to practice them in order to really be present with people and not allow their energy to get on to you.
Right, exactly.
You want to be totally present for those people. That's one of the reasons I do all the calming stuff. I don't want to be in the problem. I want to be that calm wind that actually whispers wisdom into the problem so that they can begin to get some knowledge that helps them to bring understanding or change to the problem, not get all mad if they're mad or whatever, emotion that they come to the table with.
And that's the thing about being empathic too, because you can sometimes, it's not like we do it on purpose, but sometimes people's energy can get on us.
Right from a chat even.
Just walking by somebody, a chat, or when you're empathic, you can feel. One of the things you can do is feel people's energy, and not letting that get on you can be so important for a peaceful mind. It's absolutely
important for us, because every single call is likely going to be a serious problem that someone really needs compassion and empathy for. And that's why it's so important for what we do, because you can't get to a place too where you talk with hundreds of people per month, thousands in a year, but you start you detach so much from empathy that you begin to look at them as just the same thing every day.
It's definitely a balance, because you can't be so attached that you can't guide people well, but you have to be detached enough to where. What am I trying to say here? You have to have a balance between detached and attached. You want compassionate, you want to show compassionate, but you can't allow their energy to be on you that you can't be effective, is what I'm trying to say. There's a balance.
Attachment would be, because you're outside of the situation, you shouldn't become attached. You need to be completely objective. And that's really important too. And this is our day to day. So it's really important for us, because in some ways, because we deal with people in the worst situations in life, we hold some peace of mind in our hands. We want to bring something to them that gives them guidance, wisdom, knowledge that they can use.
Right on.
And a lot of people don't realize that people that work on these lines, and not all lines are the same, we have very strong ethical practices. The people work on these lines, though, this is the place they choose to come. And we often end up taking the place of, what ordinarily people do to actually deal with problems, because they don't feel comfortable enough to tell them. I've had so many things confessed to me in these readings that I feel honored that people would share that much with me, because they don't have to share those things, but they feel so comfortable in that space. And you realize after a while, they haven't told a single soul this but you. No one. And it ends up being an honor for us. So we have strong ethical standards as well. But we've learned, though, through our work to get into a sort of flow. That life is better when it flows. And sometimes it doesn't flow exactly the way you hope. It's almost like, just like a thunderstorm. It comes, but then it goes. The destruction that it brings goes. Hagul. Hagalas, we would say. The rune Hagalas. It represents hail coming down as ice and just destroying everything in its path. And if you consider this from a life perspective, right? Wow, what just happened? But then it melts and becomes water. And then flowers grow from it. So the moral to the story with this particular runic symbol is that after the destruction, order comes, or the chaos. And that's how it is with life. We go through this series of stuff from birth on, man. You're coming out there just holding your eye. You can't see nothing. You feel something stuck up in your belly. You don't know what to do, man. It starts right then. You're like, what? I'm back here again. Oh my God. And so it starts at birth. We realize right there we're crying. We know why we're crying, man. And it ain't happy tears. Because I really feel like where we come from is better than this place. And this is school. Yes. This is where we learn to love. This is where we come here for the limitations of physical life in order for us to learn things. There's no other way as a spirit being you can learn. And I really believe that's what this life is for most of us. And the lesson plan is love. You got to learn to love more. And gratitude helps with that. Yes. Being thankful for small stuff. Even when you're in the storm of life, taking a moment each day to think about certain things you're thankful for. I know that when we make that practice in the morning, we have our coffee time in the morning, and sometimes we do our studies together in the morning. We relate to, runes or tarot or things of that nature that we use in our work, and we'll have like little we'll talk in it. Like if it's runes, we'll actually speak rune, and we'll incorporate that into our conversation, and we'll say we're feeling a little urus, and what do you mean? We're feeling a little urus and some wunjo.
Yeah, I was going to say wunjo.
We're feeling a little a joy and abundance, and vital sparks and good health. And
fehu.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of fehu today. We're feeling a lot of luck and blessings.
Abundance.
And blessings, money.
Yes.
All of the good stuff. But we do that kind of nerdy stuff every day with the cat, who is our guru. I said this before. He is absolutely our guru. And I swear this might sound crazy, but I've learned more about slowing down and appreciating small things from that cat than any human being I've almost ever met. He's so perfectly loving that he really, really... And we're not obsessed with our cat.
No. Right. No, it's true. Our last cat was like the exact opposite.
He was like the killer, man. He was
wild, and he thought this was his house.
He liked to have little Bruce Lee fights with me, and we both flex before we'd come and fight each other. I used to chase him through the house with Nerf guns, and he would steal all the darts and run off with them. And
that was our last cat. Yeah. And this cat, just the exact
complete opposite.
Yes.
And he's beautiful. He's probably the most beautiful cat that I've ever been around.
Calming, loving energies.
So we love the cat, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
And he helps us. We never had children, so he's like our baby.
Yes.
And so we do baby him a lot. But I'm also grateful for the work that we do. Because, and this is the thing, even though... Believe it or not, when you work on a psychic line, you hear the same questions over and over again. And some of those questions might be, is he going to leave his wife? Which is a very common one, which very rarely happens, by the way. And does he love me? Or does he? And we work mostly with women. Gina tends to get a lot of male clients because I think they think she's dreamy. And I tend to get a lot of female clients. And I don't know if they think I'm dreamy or they just like the way I talk or the male perspective. But I'm grateful for that because I get a chance. Like I know a good percent of what we do is wild and kind of different, like we hear it all. Like people tell us everything, but then there's that small percentage. Each day you have a chance to really make a difference in a life. And there's that one person that comes in, and it's like almost every day when things are rolling, right? Somebody comes in and they are in dire straits, man. They don't know what's going on with their life. And no matter how qualified or non-qualified you feel, they picked you today. And you have an opportunity in that moment. Usually if I'm on the line, you know how that works with me. When I'm done with the client, I usually get off and talk to them on my time and spend a little extra time because those clients are special to me because I know how that is. For me, it gives meaning to the work we do, right?
Exactly.
Because some of it's
knowing that we were able to help somebody and really, really help them on a deep level. That's rewarding in itself.
And it makes you feel like everything was worthwhile.
Yes.
Because for us, we've been married 27 years and we are very non-judgmental in our readings. You come to that space with us, you're going to get nothing but unconditional love and acceptance. There's never any judgment or anything like that. But still, we've been faithful 27 years. So when we hear all of these people that have lovers that are cheating on them and all these other things, it breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart too.
And you want them to see their worth, their value. But at the same time, I know how other people approach situations like this, and they're like, well, they shouldn't put up with that. And all these different things, but we don't know how long they've been together and how much stuff they've been through, and you can't judge from that perspective because I only can see it from the lens of what if it was me and you after 27 years, even though not likely to happen. What if it was? And I always tell them I can't judge you because I know that I would give it everything I had to make sure that it works.
Yes.
There's no way for me to judge you and be in that space. Now I can tell you the energy that I see. But sometimes you shouldn't ask questions you don't want the answer to. When you go to a psychic or a psychic service or someone who's highly empathic, it's important not to ask questions you don't want the answer to. Because I feel like sometimes, right, you rob yourself of life. And you might be saying to yourself, will this person be my long term? Because you're looking for that. But it's also going to rob you of the gratitude of the moment. I've been in love 4 times before you, and I'm looking back on those experiences, and I'm saying this in front of my wife. We're taking my life in my hands. They were beautiful experiences at the time, and I learned a lot from them. And if I wouldn't have went through those, what would I know about loving you?
Exactly. I was going to say, I'm glad you had those experiences, just like I'm glad I had my experiences.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have relationships outside of our relationship together.
And we talk about them.
Yeah, we talk about it. Why shouldn't we? Because right here, right now, in the moment, 27 years, it's you and I.
And it's going to stay that way.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
And you learn so much about that. Like when people come to me and they're like, well, does this look like a long term? Listen, no matter, who you go to, what Nostradummy you choose, a lot happens in a lifetime, and energy flows all kinds of ways. Just because it's crazy right now doesn't mean it can't flip or change. But the thing I always emphasize, right, is make sure you're getting the respect you deserve in the moment. Like it's all about what you want and your value. And a lot of times when someone's clinging to something, they feel like they may never get another opportunity. But for me, I'm glad those opportunities happen because I learned a lot. Remember I told you the story about how I was with Lynn for 4.5 years, and then all of a sudden I'm not. And I have a real hard time with that for a little while, and I fall in love again because she went her own way. And for me, that was like, how can someone who loves you go their own way? But that's how life is sometimes. You have your own life to live, and their 2 paths go different. But then I had the same experience. Got with an older lady. She had a bunch of kids. She was a beautiful lady, but I was only 22 years old. And I wasn't ready to raise a family. I would have been really not good for the family in the long run.
Right.
So letting her go, I really got to feel what it's like to let someone go when your life paths are just separate.
And it takes courage to realize that about yourself too. Hey, I'm not the person this person needs me to be.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe later in life when I found you. I had to have that experience to be complete. And that's when I realized, man, why are you even looking for love? Just live. And you were in the same space. We just live.
I mean, I had been hurt by some guys, but I kind of allowed that too. I mean, my first experience with David, he did what he did and he used me a little bit. But even after that, I allowed it.
We all do.
I allowed that. I had a lesson that I needed to learn. And that was not to be clingy or just latch on to the first person, There were things that I had to learn from that.
Well, I'm glad you latched on to me.
Right.
It wasn't easy at first. I was chasing you around like I lost a quarter.
Well, but there's a healthy latching on, and then there's an unhealthy, and I was unhealthy. and that's okay, because I learned from that. And that's my
To see
main
your
point.
value.
I had to learn to see my value. I just so much I had
So
to
you had to
learn.
learn gratitude about yourself and to be
Exactly.
grateful for the person that you are and see the value of who you are so that you could be loved properly. And so, to me, gratitude is everything. And detachment. The moral to the story with our success story for 27 years is we were literally both in the place where we didn't care. My
Yeah,
brother even said,
I had come
hey,
to a place where I was like, you know what, God, if you just want me to be a nun, that's cool. If you want me to have marriage and love, that's cool too. And I just,
you just didn't care.
whatever happened, happened.
For me, I just became content with myself and life. And so that's when I really feel like I was able to love. Like I didn't need this anymore. This isn't something that matters totally because I'm happy and I'm living life. If you feel like somebody is going to make you happy, love is really going to turn you inside out because you're going to have moments like with me when I struggled with Lyme. I had a long period of depression or short period really that was pretty bad. And I was married and still happy. I mean, with my wife, but I'm not happy with life. So if you think that a person can really keep you from those dark spaces, it won't work. They'll help carry you through them because she's stuck with me and she motivated me to, come up out of my misery and, start fixing myself rather than just sitting there in the dark crying about it. But you really, really kind of just have to get to a place in life where you don't necessarily need it. Because life itself is not going to make you happy because you find a mate. It's just not. Even if you find a good mate, you're going to hit problems that are going to make you question your decisions that you made. And it's okay. It's not okay to keep quitting on each other, though, right? Each time you have these big problems. That takes a lot of couples time to realize. Don't leave each other every time you have a big fight, right?
No, should never. When you have issues, stick it out. Stick it out.
Unless it's some kind of abuse or something of that nature, you'll stick with each other through the damnedest things if you love each other. And if someone's not really just pursuing you and giving you their time, they're not grateful for you. They're not at that place of gratitude where they see you as the gift that you are. That's gratitude too. You see a person that's come into your life as a gift, and you begin to treat it so.
And that's how I see. That's how I've always seen you. Matter of fact, seriously, years before I met you, before I even moved up here, I said, God, please teach me what it means to love and to be loved. And I had even told God qualities that I liked in a guy, and it took years, but God provided. Fully.
Absolutely.
And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
And for me, it was a surprise because I thought I was signed, sealed, and delivered. Single man forever, happy as can be. But then she walked by and I realized I was missing something. So the moral to the story today is stay in the flow of life. Yes. Allow those things to wash over you. The overwhelming feelings sometimes, just to allow them to wash over you, just like rain in a thunderstorm. Just imagine just getting caught in it and you're trying to run and you're running every which direction, but the car is 200 yards away and it's pouring so hard that it's filling your clothes up in 2 or 3 steps. Just stop. Let the rain wash over you. Sometimes we can't control the storms of life. We have to just flow with them.
Yes.
Finding that flow in life helps you to have gratitude for when the storm winds aren't blowing. So it's important sometimes, I'll tell people this, let it wash over you. Because what's happening sometimes is we're trying hard to stay too dry. And you're just not going to stay dry. That water's going to flow, and you need to let it out. To let it wash over you. Stop resisting the current of where it is, So that flow in life, too, is allowing yourself just to be in what do athletes call it, the zone. When everything's just crazy, you're still staying very focused on the things that need to be done in life, your day-to-day routines. You don't want them upset so much when you do hit the storms. Gratitude, detachment, and then getting in the flow can bring you to that space. And there are, various practices. I recommend the mindfulness movie. It's very simple. I tend to favor the practical, right? I don't like to put on special clothes or sit on a pillow when I meditate. For me, it's very practical. Either I'm
Yeah,
playing an
same
instrument,
here.
hitting a drum, or just sitting in the chair, petting the cat, and getting that moment. But it's very important to get those quiet moments every day. So we just wanted to dip in today, just a brief, and I know we're all over the place, but we haven't done an episode in a while, to talk about gratitude and also to talk about detachment and not always being so attached to the results, because that detachment is what brought you me and vice versa.
Right on.
I don't feel we would have found each other without it, because I'd have been just way too defensive about actually being with someone. This just kind of happened, and I was compelled by some unseen force to chase this lady. And I still can't explain it to this day because I wasn't the chasing type, but that's how magical it is. All of a sudden, you just come to life. And a lot of times, I had come to a place of gratitude in my life. I was happy to be me, even if I was alone. I'm okay.
So take a little bit of time every day, guys, whether it's the beginning, in the middle, or all day long even. Just take a little bit of time every day just to be thankful for something.
Think about those
or several somethings, but just be thankful.
Even if you just meditate on it, if you're a praying person, you express your thankfulness that way. In whatever way that you can express it, be thankful for that. Even if it's just an internal gratitude that you just allow to resonate through you, Take that time every day to do that. And then realize too, in the storm, when Hagalaz comes to visit you, or Hagul comes to visit you, the hailstorms of life, to just flow.
Just throw some wound, Joe.
Yeah, just throw some joy. Just start thinking about the things that give you gratitude. But also allow the darkness to kind of penetrate. Sometimes we learn the damnedest things in the darkness, and it's a tough place to be. But every time I go through an ordeal in life or lose someone or anything major, I come out of it with so much wisdom. And that's the only great thing about it in the end, is the wisdom and the gratitude you have for life.
And that's what I was going to say, without experiences, you have to have experience to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge, to gain wisdom. You just have to. You got to go through it. And that's kind of what some people would call a harsh truth. But sometimes
it's the harsh truth.
But sometimes you do have to go through that hard stuff to get grateful, to be grateful.
You can't skip it because you won't be ready.
Exactly.
These harsh things that we go through, you'll find that you have been through the darkness and you know the way out. And one day, you're going to receive a little ball of light in that darkness, and there's going to come a time where you pass that ball of light to someone else. You know the way out. And so sometimes that struggle isn't for you. It's about you in some ways, but it was for someone else too, because you're going to give away that wisdom to someone else at some point that you gained from actually overcoming the struggle. And then you're going to realize at that moment in time, it was bigger than you all along. It was bigger than you. If you embrace it and you don't allow it to really overtake you, because when you're trying to skip over those experiences of love that don't always turn out, I always hear, will this be long term? And it's hard to convey that idea to someone, that sometimes something that's only a couple years is the most magical memories you have of your youth and your life. Take those away from yourself.
Don't deny yourself of those experiences. Yeah. Because even though I went through what I went through with David and a couple other guys, I learned a lot through that. I learned a lot through that.
And
I wouldn't have learned. I'm sorry.
That microphone's very sensitive.
You're right. Sorry. I wouldn't have learned that stuff. I wouldn't have learned all that if I had not gone through that experience.
Yeah, you need that experience. You absolutely need it to live a good life. It's just part of the flow of life. And we're saying that today because of our own experience. We're conveying that truth to you so that hopefully you gain something for this. You realize that life can't just be what we want it to be. I know we're living in the law of attraction and the manifestation generation. And it seems like spirituality now is just how good everything is. But the real truth of the matter is none of the spiritual masters that are of note would agree with that. All of the good things come through suffering in life, and we're made perfect through suffering.
Yeah.
So we're available every day at thirdeyevibes.one. This is our primary website, not .com, thirdeyevibes.one. We have readings there. We have chat. We have ability to hit us with a toll-free. We also have live video, live voice call. We have everything there. We're always there. There are other places you can find us, but those are not places we can really talk about here. We have contractual agreements to keep those things separate. You can find us every day there. Come by and see us. I just started a blog, right? I just started a Medium blog where I'm the third eye. I'm the Mars Aquarius on Medium. Go by and read my poetry. Finally, I haven't had the blog up but for a few days, but I'm getting some people reading my work. And when you put this stuff on Meta or Facebook, it's like everybody there just wants to argue about politics. So I'm branching out to different places. I'm going to be giving talks on the Wisdom app. Get the Wisdom app. Follow the Mars Aquarius. And we got a lot of exciting projects lined up, including the podcast. Until then, we shall see you hopefully next week. We want to do these every week now, right?
Yes,
try to find something.
We are going to do these every week.
And you shall see us at thirdeyevibes.1. Of course, go by my TikTok. It's Third Eye Vibes with some underscores. Check out my TikTok videos. Man, I'm putting all kind of content out over there, right? And people love it over there. You go by and see my TikTok videos. On Instagram, we're thirdeyevibes.1. I made the Instagram handle the same as the website. Makes it real easy. And just come by and check our stuff out. All of the social links are on the website as well. It's a nice, short site so that you don't get distracted. And we'll be waiting for you each day. Until next week, we say goodbye, and then we'll see you then. Goodbye. Bye-bye. All right, there you have it. Gratitude, detachment, and the fires of inspiration. Didn't really get into the inspiration part other than talking about how we appreciate life more from the gratitude we have. But we shall do an episode on inspiration and creativity soon enough. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can again find us at thirdeyevibes.1, not .com, thirdeyevibes.1, where you can find oneness with the self, or advice that helps you actually live your life in a certain symmetry and harmony that you will find nowhere else. Both my wife and I am the Mars Aquarius, Matt Buchanan, and Mystic Runa, Gina Buchanan, would be glad. We're both certified life coaches. We're both very experienced advisors in the spiritual industry, and we've been doing this for many years. So you come by, you get some expertise, and you make a new friend. So do stop by, just say hello to us. Come by the site. I've got some of my blog posts up there. Check out the blog. Go by and check out my poetry. My. I need somebody to love on me a little bit. And we'll come up with some good material, and we'll talk with you guys again next week. So until then, just be happy and be thankful for the things that you have, and try to be in the flow of the struggles of life. And I guarantee you, this is going to create a much more harmonious way of seeing the world and living your life. All right? See you then.